All right, so one of the things we do in drills is we try to do it as much as possible in warm-ups to kind of get them doubled up, so to speak. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone. We're making sure that we're doing things that are very easy on our kids' system, so to speak, warm-up type drills, and still making it a warm-up / technique drill. So we will do running stretches like we're doing here and high knees and Frankensteins and all that basic stuff. But after a few minutes of that, or sometimes we don't even do any of that, we're going to get into our drills that are a little bit more conducive to the stuff we do. Probably talked a few times about these other things, but all right, so ball drill warm-ups. So here's our scoop and score drill. This is pretty much an everyday warm-up. You know, we only got 3 guys here, but you picture, 80 guys there. We got, 10 lines of 8, 11 lines of 6, whatever it is. Put the ball at 5 yards, scoop and score at about a 50% rate. What they're doing is they're warming up their quads, their hips, their hamstrings, their groin. And again, they're getting an applicable drill. They're learning how to carry the football. Obviously, Jesse does because he's a running back. But a lineman, so to speak, it never learns how to carry the ball, and all of a sudden he learns how to carry it. And then you put... Exactly, yep. And everybody's doing it. Everyone's going to scoop from the right. Everyone's going to scoop from the left. Everyone's going to carry the ball in the right hand. Everyone's going to carry the ball in the left hand. And linemen love it. Now you put it at 10 yards and you pick up the pace to about 75, 80%, okay? So now you're just a little bit more warmed up, all right? And then what we do next, after you pick up the ball and you come back, we're going to go to the next one, is we're going to bounce the ball. So as Jesse scoops the ball on the run, he's going to bounce it to the next guy. And I'd say it's like about a 50% bounce, really pretty easy. You can start making it go a little more aggressive. We want them to keep their feet, but if they have to dive on the ground and get it, they do. But kids, they're going to want to keep their feet as much as possible too to learn scoop and score. So that was a really good warm-up. Then we go highest point drill. Everybody is going highest point. Now you're stretching out your hip flexors, your lower back, you're getting your shoulders stretched out, and you're learning a skill. I shouldn't even say learning a skill, you're perfecting a skill. You're making the diamond as you get to the highest point. Next guy throws it. Now, this is bad. When a kid drops it, the last thing the other kid wants to do is catch it for him. Why? Because now it's a what? It's a fumble. So now, instead of Logan catching it, he should have let it drop, and then Dakota goes and scoops and scores. So it ends up being, it's a really good drill. This one I love, all right? So it's 3x3, 3-men tackle and strip drill. Now, when I played football, we warmed up our neck by doing all this kind of stuff. And to me, you're just getting that weak, that kind of fatigued. I think that's a good thing to do after practice. This is warming up the neck for real. All going about 50%, probably not even that, maybe a little more like 25, 30. They're 3 yards apart. They're working profile tackle and strip. So whoever's on the ball side is going to pull the ball out. He's going to work scoop and score. He's got to run 3 yards, come back to the triangle. They should hustle a little bit more than this. Come back to the triangle. And now again, profile tackle, strip, scoop, go get it for 3 yards. So everybody's in little pods of 3.
You line up multiple, like say it's like 2 groups going at one time?
Oh no, it's like 30 groups going at one time. Yeah. So they all got to kind of spread out between, the 30 and the back of the goal line. So everybody's in a 3-man pod. Good question. I thought I need to start saying that. But yeah, so they're all working this, and literally in, I think we do it for 2 minutes, and they're probably getting about 15 reps in there. But again, it's warming up the neck, it's warming up the shoulders, it's still warming up your whole body. Now the kids don't think about it as warming up. They're actually doing something. Oh, absolutely. And now you got every kid doing it, and even though maybe an offensive lineman will never do it, you never know when he's going to play defense. It's good for him to learn a skill. And again, now you're not policing kids doing this and they're talking to their buddy about what happened at lunch, because I hate, if you can avoid policing stuff, do it. A little more closer angle, pick it up the pace. So I might say, okay, the last minute, 50%. So it'll hit a little bit harder. I've probably been doing this drill for 14, 15 years, never had one kid hurt. And this is the most physical warm-up drill we do, and still never had one kid hurt. Okay. So, and again, those are just examples. You guys can come up with a million different things. But I think the thing is when you're driving home or when you're thinking about, just come up with some drills that are really important to you guys that you want to do during warm-up and use that as your warm-up. And then again, everybody's doing it. Everybody's getting warmed up for real. It's applicable to football, etc. All right, so here's our blocking progression. So pretty much anything I teach, especially blocking, tackling, and shedding blocks, we want to go from the position we want them in, right? The fit position. So the fit position for us on a drive block, face mask in the V of the neck, feet just outside of shoulder width, a nice arch in the back, Z's in the knees, elbows down, and basically legally holding the guy's chest plate and making sure that we are not extending too early. We don't want extension on a block, all right? We actually want to be inside of people. The scout guy can do us some service by doing a reminder by always holding the elbows. So sometimes scout guys don't know what to do with their arms. It's either on top of the shoulders, but I like even better on the elbows, because what do kids do when they start driving? They start doing this. You want to get them in a habit of everything coming through that scraping the lats is what we always tell our kids. Scrape the lats, biceps through those lats, and everything is hitting on the rise. All right, so once we put them in the fit position, we've checked it. Again, this is warm-up stuff too, fellas. It's not just the progression itself. Once we put them in this position, then we're just going to blow the whistle, and it just means drive for 5. Okay, I'm already one step ahead. Usually it'll be just drive for 5 with no lockout. Then the next one I'll say drive for 5, listen for the whistle for lockout. Okay, so this is actually one step ahead of where I would go on the overall progression. So when I blow that second whistle, that means Logan is going to lock him out. Yep. Good. Okay, now how did we get to the fit position? We're just going to take one step back, okay? We were in the loaded position, arms loaded. Now, this is overloaded in my opinion, okay? I do like to overcoach things when we're doing progressions, because kids, as soon as they put it all together, they're going to do what? They're going to find that happy medium. Matter of fact, Logan finds the ultimate happy medium and doesn't load his arms the first time at all. So we got him in the loaded position. Now, to me, the loaded position, I love the back flat, okay, and the chest on the knees as much as possible, because what a three-point stance is a beautiful stance for football, right? I mean, you're as coiled up as you can be. It's an attack stance. But what do kids do on their first step, which basically this is off his first step? They pop up. So they lose all that potential power. So I tell our kids, look, you would never get up on the power clean and get in your power clean position and then extend a few inches and then clean. You want all that potential power going in your clean. Or if you're trying to jump and, like, say, touch the rim, you would never get down and do this and then do that and jump, would you? And they always, they answer, no, coach. Well, then why do you do it when you're blocking? It's just a mental thing. They have to learn to do it. So in their pre-hit position, this is post first step, pre-contact. Post first step, pre-contact. So I'm just going to blow the whistle, get right into the fit position. Right into the fit, and you can already see what he's doing. He's already getting a little bit too high. So I'll say, Logan, you're already popping up. Coach, I got you. Get down, make that contact a little bit lower. Pretty good job with his elbows still pointing down. I like his hand placement. I don't care about the feet. If you start telling them too much, then they're going to start, worrying. So I just tell them to step through with the other foot. I don't want them to overstride. That would be about the only thing, but I try not to get them to worry about too much of their feet. And then the next one I'll say, okay, that was good. Now let's shorten that step up, okay? Just get as far as your heel to toe. So again, they're not thinking too much at once. So if he did this on the first one, I wouldn't even talk about the feet. I'd say, Logan, you're a little bit too high and your arms are starting to extend a little bit too much. Okay, coach. So then he'd do maybe 2 or 3 more, and I go, all right, you got it. Now, just step with that right foot, this. Just do this. Give me a short step. Okay, coach. And then you go from there. Does that kind of make sense? This right here is show me. So a lot of times when I feel like they're not getting I forgot to do it in the film. It wasn't because Logan was doing a bad job. But if I feel like their hands are not really in there and really grabbing that shoulder pad, I'll say, show me. So they just go like this, and they show me that they have the accurate grip. Thumbs up, hands inside, palms facing each other, and making sure they're legally holding that guy's chest plate. So that one I kind of jumped ahead. But that's show me. Now he goes back to fit, okay? Checking the elbows. Logan, show me. Okay, here's Logan's second step. So again, I don't like his hands on his thighs. And again, he's a little bit overloaded to me. Back flat's pretty good. Yeah, it's good. But just about right here with your hands, between your knee and your mid-thigh. You start doing this, and I think you can just start getting overextended. And then, most college guys, because they run so much zone, are going to tell you, don't load your arms at all. Just get hands on them right away. Like McNally is huge on that, and a lot of NFL guys. To us, we're undersized, like probably you guys are as well. So we want to use everything in our toolbox to generate as much power as possible, because a lot of times we're 180 and we're blocking 270. So we need to load the arms. And again, it does help you to hit on the rise a little bit more. Here's the beauty about getting off the ball quick and hitting on the rise, something just to think about and tell the kids. The defensive line can have the most beautiful stance too and be the most technically perfect athlete. But his first step, he's still rising, right? So if you catch him on momentum, that's the key. So if you can get your hands on him as quick as possible and still get a little bit of a load, that's the key, because as he's rising, right, anything that's already in momentum and you hit it right when it's in momentum, it's going to be much better than if it were stationary and then you got to go hit it. Does that make sense? So as that guy takes his first step, we want to get our first and second step going into the ground so we can hit him on the rise. So we can make that 270-pound kid, and you guys saw some clips where those guys were up on their heels because they were tall, you know, and that one Stanford kid was the worst. They're tall kids, and if you can get them standing up, now they're not 270 anymore. They're literally 5 pounds of weight. So anyway, a little bit overloaded there. Okay, so then I'll say, Logan, how'd you get into that loaded position? And he has to say, from my stance, okay? Let me see stance to loaded position. And I say right here, Logan, your shoulders popped up too much and you were overloading big time, man. That is way too much, okay? So where I'd want him to be is, you know, and I think Dakota will do it better than trying to show you where I want it to be. A little bit. I don't like the forearm on the thigh. And I had to, this was my first year there, I had to break that habit with all those kids. Every one of them was forearm on the thigh. I want in their stance, I got a chair here so I don't got to bend over as much. In their stance, I want the tent, and I want the other hand hanging loose between the wrist and the crack of the arm. I used to have them wrist to fist. Now about right here seems good. So now when they load equally. And again, like I just said, this is about where I want the arms loaded. My back is terrible because I can't get down like they can. But he is overloaded. Right there is decent. I'd like him, he could be up a little bit more, especially because his eyes are looking down. Hands are decent, but that's pretty good. He didn't overstride. It's got a nice base. Obviously, we want the eyes up more, though. Okay, so now we're going to do it in a progression of step, step, step. So his steps are pretty bad already, so I'm definitely going to just do 2 in a row. I'll blow the whistle, and I'll say, all right, Logan, here we go. Step and load, step and punch. Step and load, step and punch. And those are 2 different whistles. And you can already see things kind of breaking down. Though Logan from the beginning was overloading, he's already popping up. He's getting that legal hold in there, but see that? I don't want that extension. And I know that's kind of hard when the scout guy's just doing this. And that's kind of what we want in a game, but we know it's not going to be that easy. So my next thing is to go, okay, all right, Logan. First step was good. I liked your length. Let's just make sure, again, you're still overloading. And when you do your second steps, just stay a little bit lower, okay? And don't extend those arms. Let's see how Dakota does. Good. Good. No, I don't like the extension. He needs to step forward a little bit more. He's kind of stepping under himself. So step. Not bad. Step. He's sinking his hips a little bit too much and stepping underneath himself, which is causing too much length right here. He's trying to stay low by the bend in his knees and not the bend in his hips. Does that make sense, fellas? So he's doing a good job staying low, but he's thinking my staying low has to be through that. Because if you look at his torso, pretty good, bad. You want on contact the torso to be at about a 45-degree angle. So you can see what I did, right? I slowed him down. All right, Dakota, slow it down. I'm going to go a little bit slower. Step, load, give it a little bit better job of staying underneath with your hips bent. And he is. He's better. I'd say he's halfway there. Okay. So now the next one is, once he's got that down a little bit, now it's drive and extend. So this is like 5 whistles. Whistle, 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 and whistle. And you can still tell, fellas, there's major mechanical problems in there. And we have to revisit all this stuff again. But and again, you might say, well, where do you have time to do it? Warm up. Do this as your warm up. Your whole team's doing it. And yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but once you get it down, It might take 20 minutes the first couple times you do it. Most of you guys warm up for 15 minutes anyway. You can do this as an entire warm-up. And we did that for probably the first 2 years, that every Monday, blocking progression was our warm-up. And every Tuesday, tackling progression was our warm-up. And then Wednesday, we would do shed block with tackle. Thursday, we'd mix it up, etc. So you can find time. Finding time in the warm-up is really good. And again, every time they get in a stance and they even hold it, they're getting blood and oxygen going through their muscles. See how Logan's doing on his breakdown. Whistle, up. We already at full hit. And what is Logan doing now? Because I probably told him so much, he's barely loading at all. So the next one I'd say, Logan, pad level's a little high, and you went from overloading to not loading at all. And you're not really even stepping. Now, I will say this, that is partially the scout team guy's fault. He needs to be a full yard away. About where that yellow line is where his feet should be. Because when they're that far away, that close, that's neutral zone infraction close, which is not realistic. But also it's making him panic that I have to load and unload the arms. That's not too bad. That's actually not too bad. I'd like him to load his hands probably about 3 more inches back there, and it would have been pretty good. Pad level is definitely bad. And he needs a step when he hits. Let's see how Dakota does. Dakota. All right, see how he's doing. Not bad. Again, his toes should be on that yellow line to give Dakota a little bit more room. Dakota's loading. He's going nice and slow. That's another thing. Don't rush him. As soon as you start saying, man, I need to hear some pop, and you need to get off the ball faster, that's when things are going to fall apart, especially with a kid like him, because he's more of a backup kid. But look at his elbows. They're nice and tight. He's hitting on the rise. He's got the legal holding in there. Face mask is pretty good. He didn't get overstrided. He's pretty much got all 7 cleats on the ground. Lockout's not bad. It's just not bad. Compared to what we just saw him, like literally, I don't know, 5 minutes ago, depending on how many times I actually repped him before I had him start full hitting. Okay, so let's go into our stick-like glue drills. These are great. And again, these are great warm-ups now. Okay, stick-like glue drill number 1 is the sidewinder, okay? You're gonna do the full hit now, and the scout, everything's still about 50%. And now the scout guy is gonna randomly just turn. About a 25 to 45 degree angle, kind of in like an angle back pedal. And Dakota's main deal is to never cross over, to keep his base, and then keep driving vertical. Now, you're gonna see, I'm gonna show you something that you'll see from your kids when you first do this. This. He started to just side shuffle. No, it is still going forward the whole time. Yes, you can stay in front of him if you side shuffle, but you're not applying pressure. That's not bad. Actually, it's not too bad. Let's watch Logan. His will probably be worse. Yep, pad level's already getting too high. There it is. Crossover. Right there. Don't let him cross over. You lose your block as soon as you cross over. You basically, this is what I tell our kids, look, what's the biggest advantage that defensive guys have that offensive guys don't? Holding, right? Defensive guys can grab all day and hold. How do you hold when you're on offense? Your feet. If your feet are outside the cylinder of this guy, you are holding him with your feet. You have him encased within the framework of your body. The moment you do this, you're done. That guy's gonna beat you there all day, okay? So as soon as that guy makes a move that way, you gotta compensate it by this foot still technically holding the guy. And yeah, we teach the legal holding in here, but you know how hard it is to grab defensive guys' jerseys today? Their jerseys are so freaking tight. So we're up in here trying to legally hold here, but really we can always legally hold here with our base. That is the most important point to get across to a kid that, you know, can't keep a guy in front of him the whole time. All right, let's see the next drill. All right, spin drill. Love this drill. High school kids spin all the time. They don't know how to do it, especially when they're getting pushed. It's one of the first go-to things guys do. And a spin is hard to block because a lot of kids just fall forward. But you got to teach them. And again, not only are we teaching them these really good skills, but we're teaching them how to play snap the whistle. You can talk about it all day, but until you teach your kids how to play snap the whistle, they're not going to be able to do it. So he is at about a 2-3 yard mark of getting pushed back. He's just going to do some kind of like rip and spin. And what we do is we tell him to wheelbarrow it. It's a lot like pass blocking. And you don't have to get vertical push while the guy's spinning. Now when he gets his chest back to you, you vertically push. And the reason you don't is because when the guy has his back turned to you, he's got no power. It's a total finesse move, right? Once you've done this, you've given up every piece of power you have. But you're banking that the offensive lineman is going to miss you. but we're going to wheelbarrow him. So it's a lot like this. It's boom, 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 boom. That's all you're doing. And as soon as his chest shows again, boom, attack vertically. We'll see if Logan even did that. I didn't notice. Too late. There. That next left foot needs to go on the ground and drive him vertically. Yeah, he took 2 or 3 shuffle steps that I wouldn't want him to take. But again, that's why we're doing it. Still a pretty good job. He reacted to it really good. Kept his shoulders and his feet wide the whole time, never crossed over. Yeah, that's still pretty good. We'll see how Dakota does. A little bit slower. He might have actually got his vertical drive going a little bit quicker. Okay, let's see the next drill. It's probably, so pop-up. This is the ultimate conditioning drill. If you're ever pissed off at your kids, this is a great conditioning drill. They're never going to get hurt. Teaches them to play snap the whistle. It's a great warm-up drill, but you wouldn't want to do too many of these. Probably 2 in a row. So what it does is it teaches them, when you get thrown on the ground, what are you going to do? Are you going to crawl for a step and try to find him? Are you going to look up and see where he went? No, you are going to pop up like you have springs in your elbows. Boom, boom. And you're going to find him on the way up. And when you find him on the way up, you're going to go dry block him again. Throw him down, find him again. So I always remind them you guys all seen the Terminator. Remember the Terminator, the first one? That was the best one, right? That freaking Terminator just got freaking thrashed, but he just kept on coming and kept on coming. And that's the sign of a relentless kid. That's the word we're always talking about. But you got to teach kids how to be relentless. You can see he's already getting tired right here, right? Yeah, they hate that drill. As soon as I say pop-up drill, man, you got moans all over the place. I like this. Grab him by the back. Logan's a wrestler too, so. And you see Dakota getting up kind of slow. Yeah, he don't really, it's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, so now we're going to put them all together. So now you're going to say, okay, fellas, this is what I want. I want 3 sidewinders and 1 pop-up. Or I want 1 spin and 2 sidewinders. And, now again, you're conditioning, playing snap the whistle. And again, the biggest key is, fellas, while you're doing this, you got wide base. I think I got a combo in here. No. That was 2. Okay, well, I don't. But you guys get the point. Mix it up. Okay, so that's offense. That's the main offensive one we do. I'm going to do shed blocking, I'm going to do tackling, and then we'll be done. But any questions on that? Good on that? Again, the keys, number 1 is to be relentless. But the true keys are, as far as technique goes, is that wide base the whole time. No matter what happens to you, you are holding this guy with your feet. No matter what happens with you, you are never giving up. It is snap the whistle. It's stick like glue. Bad things are going to happen. It's a freaking football game, okay? You're going to get out of position. You're going to get whatever. You got to keep playing football. And obviously, how did we get there? We learned how to block through a progression of a fit position all the way through. Same thing with shed blocks. The biggest difference between blocking and shedding blocks is we want extension right now. And we want our hips away from the guy instead of into the guy, okay? Extension and separation, it's the only difference, okay? All right, so that's a show me. I want to see that your hands are in the right place, and they are. Good job. So the first part of the progression is, first part of the progression, show me with him too. First part of the progression is ragdoll. Throw him and shuffle. And you're only going to shuffle to where his inside foot is. You don't want to shuffle too far. Just clear him. All right, just clear him. If you get to hip with a guy, you got him beat. Okay? Good job. It's down and it's out. So it's a 45-degree movement. You're basically throwing him past the shoe that you want to clear him with. I'm going to go a little faster. We'll just show Logan. How did I get there? I loaded my hands. I think loading the hands is perfectly fine in shedding blocks because you have more distance to do it now. So we're breaking down, we're loading our hands, and boom, boom, popping that foot, popping those hands into them. Because now we get a little chest shock. And that's really huge for outside backers on the receivers, but every position. Okay? I got to show me again. Okay, so now we're going live feet. Because remember, you can get into a guy, but you're not going to necessarily shed him right away. Sometimes you got to see where the ball's going. You got to see what's going on. Sometimes you got to hold him for a second. Now, you'll never chop your feet quite like this. This is overcoaching, but I don't want your feet locked in the ground either. Foot fire, shed. Okay? Now we're going from that loaded position, load, hit, foot fire, shed. should have shoot. Okay, there's one part I missed in there, fellas, I'm sorry. But what it is just closing the distance. It's the exact same drill, but now we're gonna close the distance. Because for that, that's fine for a D end and D lineman, because you're always real close. But now I gotta close the distance. I thought I had it on there, but now I'm gonna put them 5 yards back, and I'm gonna have a sprint, chop, chop, chop. 5 yards back, sprint, chop, 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 hit. Sprint, chop, 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 hit, chop, chop, chop. Then I'm gonna put the whole thing together. Sprint, chop, 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 extend, chop, 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 throw, and get in position. So that's the whole progression. So I did the contact phase, I didn't do the approach phase. Probably because I'm working with a defensive end here. Okay, tackle progression. Love this one. Not gonna get hurt, ever. You got the shield. Remember, we don't tackle like this anymore, fellas. Those days are over. That's separated shoulder, that's stingers, all those bad things, and that's not synergy. Synergy means I'm gonna use my whole body and it's gonna move in the same way as my hands. Back in the old day, we're using our body, but our hands are going like that. And if you're making a tackle with this outside part of your arm, that back probably isn't very good anyway, and you're not getting in good position. It's about getting into position and hitting up through his armpits. We tell our kids you are tackling that guy through his armpits so violently that you're taking his shoulder pads off through his shoulders. So fit position with a shield. You don't have to have this little hourglass shield either. It actually is probably better not to, because that kind of gives them an advantage. Fit position. Okay, fit position on the ground, and it's not really for the purpose of it, but this part is. So now we're going to put them on their knees, so they just work hips. Can't use your legs now, right? It's just hips and arms. And you have to grip the bag so tight that your torso does not hit the ground. So now what are you teaching? Just by nature of not having to hit your nuts on the ground, you're teaching kids to squeeze. It's not just hitting through, it's squeezing as well. Hit, squeeze. Not just hit, hit, squeeze. And now, because you hit and squeeze, you're holding your own, Jesse's probably about 180. You're putting 180 pounds of pressure into that squeeze, keeping your groin off the ground. That alone is a huge drill. That alone is a huge drill. Now you put them in a 2-point stance. How do I step on an approach? I load my arms. Maybe again, a little bit overloaded. Now I go from loading the arms to making the tackle. Big step. Why can you take a big step when you tackle and you can't when you block? It's okay to get overextended. You get the hold. When you're blocking, you get overextended, you're beat. But with tackling, you get the hold. I want to hit through that guy. And because I can take big steps, because I'm holding, I'm going to get into that guy even further and get my hips into him right now. We want to be hip to hip with guys. Okay, my belt onto his hip is how we're tackling him. Now we're going to teach him how to run with your hips hugged up on a guy. Now this isn't totally natural because you have no human being to lean on. You have a 2-pound bag that you're holding. But when your hips are hugged up against somebody and you're guiding them and your teammates are coming, that's literally the foot fire you want. It will never totally look like that, but it's mimicking something where you can't lean into, if that makes sense to you guys. But you want to get your hips onto his hips when you tackle and grab him. There's no getting out of that tackle. There is getting out of these tackles. There's no getting out of these tackles. Okay, so again, progression. How do we do it? We're going to walk it through. We're going to step and load. We're going to step and tackle with a big step. And we're going to just walk through that, hip to hip. Pick it up the pace. So now he's just going from like walking speed to jogging speed. Now he's going pretty much full speed. Now he's chopping his feet like he's bouncing up and breaking down in an open field tackle. I would like Ryan to have them come close as they chop it up, but you guys kind of get the point. Okay, now we're putting him from a distance. Put him at 5 yards, chop, 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 and then wait till he actually shows me that he doesn't fall forward. Kids, when they chop their feet, start doing this. I want to see that Jesse can maintain his balance. Good. Okay, now it's just a profile tackle, one where you don't have to bounce up. Run right through him, take his head off. Now it's balance up, now take his head off. So again, we're just working that progression all the way through. And technically, if you think about it, whether it's this breakdown one or the one before, they're going full speed and they're hitting something as hard as they can, but there's no way they're getting hurt. Impossible. Now do it from an angle. Same thing. All right, so now you do combos of this. Now we're working shed, block, and tackle. Shed, block, tackle. Shed, block, tackle. Okay. Now, the coach is back here, and he's just going to tell, and you don't have to have a coach do it. This kid can do it on his own. But, you know, just to make it equal, so you get 3 to the right, 3 to the left, or whatever. So now he's shedding the block. He's finding where the bag goes. Excuse me, I shouldn't say that. I'm jumping ahead. He's attacking the blocker. He sees where the bag goes. And then he goes and makes a tackle. Same thing, okay? All right, now, let's go to this one. We're almost at the end, fellas. Okay, now we got a ball in their hand instead of a bag. So now we're going to actually tackle a person. But it's going to be at the same pace as that triangle 3x3 drill. We're not trying to hurt anybody. So Dakota's just going to put the ball out here. As soon as Jesse makes contact, he finds the ball. Dakota's going to tuck and run. And if you think about it, that is that 3x3 drill that we just did at the beginning of practice, but now out of being blocked first. Same exact drill. Okay, hit on the rise, undercut, get the hips on his hips. I want the hips even more onto that. I'd like his pad level to be a little bit lower. Try to get the eyes out of that contact. A little bit more shoulder right there would be good. But overall, it's not bad. Good. Again, a little bit too much face mask. We all know, fellas, we're going to get the head in there, but we always got to at least try to talk about that's a really good hitting on the rise, grabbing like you grabbed that bag. 42 is now that blue bag. No difference. Now, it's a human being. What's bad here, fellas? Look at his feet. Did he ever hug up the hips? No. Okay, so right off the bat, we're going to go hug the hips, hug the hips. He never hugged the hips. I can pretty much guarantee Dakota won't either. It's not very good. Look at terrible feet. Never really rocked Jesse. So we obviously know who needs the most work. And again, they'll expose. I mean, how many other ways can you expose a kid on how good or bad of a tackler he is with doing something so easy? And actually, you're fixing them while you go. But you guys can obviously see that Jesse was the best tackler, Logan was the next best, and he's significantly far behind, exposing and teaching. There you go. Jesse's getting that hips up. Good. Might have ducked his head a little bit too much right there. I don't like the airplane look. And he kind of got lazy on hugging the hips right here. So anyway, the rest of the drill is the same type of stuff. But that stuff, again, so just as an idea, Monday you do the blocking one. Tuesday you do the tackling one. And then Thursday you do the shed block mixed with the tackling one. Or maybe you wait till the next week on Wednesday and then you do it. The shed block one is the quickest, as you guys can see. The blocking and tackling a little bit longer. But again, they're all extremely safe. They're really productive. And before these kids even know it, they've warmed up. You could do all 3 of these once, probably about week 3. You could do all 3 of these just on Monday and be done in 15, 20 minutes with your entire team. If it's organized, and here's the other thing, fellas. If you're the head coach or you're the DC or you're the one that's installing these things, don't let the other freaking coaches sit there and watch, man. That drives me nuts. I got 9 assistants. And every freaking time at the beginning of the year, I'll look at one or two and go, what are you doing? Come on, man. I might have my freaking receiver coach coaching his freaking butt off while my D-line coach is over there just giving a couple, you know, so that's the few and far between. I had one guy that used to love to punt the ball during beginning of practice. I would freaking want to shoot him. You got to coach your coaches. But anyway, my point being in this, you know, we got a pretty big squad. So we got 80 kids and they're in groups of 3. That's still a lot of groups right there. Even if you have 30 kids, you got 10 groups going. You got every one of your coaches got to help. 10 groups going and you might have between 5 and 12 coaches. That's still moving around from group to group. And they're getting excited and getting fired up and everybody's getting into it. And then here's the other thing, fellas. Now your coaches are warmed up, right? If your coaches sit there and play catch or just kind of watch guys while they're doing their running stretch, they're not ready to go either. They're 10 minutes behind themselves. But when they start doing this stuff and they work up a little lather and they're getting into it and they follow me of me going all crazy in there, now we're all ready to go. So now 15 minutes has passed. We are completely warmed up. Our coaches are completely warmed up. We've done something relevant towards football. We've got everything from the neck all the way to the toes warmed up, and we're ready to practice. And now when we go to Indo, you linebacker coach and DB coaches don't have to do this nearly as much. Now you can work on drops and things that are a little bit more closer to the other part of the game, passing, etc. So hope that makes sense. I know I rushed that, but in all reality, that's it. There's not a whole lot more to that. Really safe, really productive. Any questions? All right, hey, thanks for hanging around on a Saturday night, fellas. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know most of you guys will probably be gone tomorrow, but I got 2 more talks tomorrow, and if I don't see you then, You guys have good luck this year and keep doing your thing. All right? Thanks, fellas.